All right, I think we are about ready to begin. I want to say good morning and good afternoon to everyone on the East Coast. I want to thank everybody who's attending. We have another great turnout for our latest webinar in the NIMBL lecture series, Clearing Up the Cloud, Your Guide to SAP Analytics Cloud and Cloud Planning. I'm Jake Eisbart, part of the NIMBL marketing team. A little bit about us at SAP. We are SAP technologists and SAP ecosystem thought leaders, part of the Techedge Group, our consulting business, which delivers SAP projects, both technical and functional. And we also have our SAP Managed Services, which supports both Fortune 1000 and mid-market across 24/7, across 20-plus skill sets. Here's a quick list of the services that we offer. Obviously, today we will be talking and focusing on SAP Analytics Cloud. And here's a list of some of the customers that we've worked with. Before we begin, we want to do a little bit of housekeeping. We'd like to be able to answer as many questions as possible. So if you take a look in the bottom left-hand corner of the chat box, feel free to type in any questions for our presenter, Mike, today, and he will answer them at the end of the presentation. In addition, just so you know, everybody who is attending will be receiving a fully edited copy of the video. So if you have to step away or you miss a slide, don't worry. You will be receiving a fully edited copy. So let's start it up and go right to our presenter. Our presenter today is Michael Pytel. Mike's a certified SAP resource possessing over 10 years of technical SAP implementation expertise, over 13 years of overall ERP project experience. He has supported embedded analytics at SAP HANA as an enterprise data warehouse initiative. He's also author of implementing SAP Business Suite on HANA through SAP Press. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Mike. Actually, before we do that, apologies, we want to kind of get a lay of the land. So we have a couple poll questions that we'd like to ask you just so we know what the audience looks like. First poll question is, do you run SAP ERP on HANA or S/4HANA today? First answer is yes, we are running today. We're almost there. We're implementing soon. Or not yet. We are looking to implement next year or the year after. And we'll give people a couple seconds to fill that out. Looks like it's kind of split down the middle between we are running today or we're also, it's going to be next year or the year after. All right, and on to our second poll question. Do you run SAP Business Objects Enterprise today, or BOE? Yes, we are running BOE 4.2 today. Yes, we're running BOE, except we're running version 4.1 or an older version. Or no, we have not deployed Business Objects Enterprise. And again, looks like it's pretty evenly matched. All right, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Mike. Mike, go ahead and take it away.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to switch modes here and share my screen, and we're going to go into a PowerPoint presentation and do some live demos as well. All right, today's guide talking about Analytics Cloud and Cloud for Planning, a very innovative space where SAP has some new organic offerings where they could have just as easily, taken the business objects portfolio and moved that to a cloud-based environment and maybe done some retrofits. But instead, they chose to build a product organically from the ground up, right? So this is all new product development where it is often compared to business objects, but it is different than business objects. So obviously today, or in the past in the analytics world, we're running SAP BW, we're running SAP Business Objects, and the downside of running in an on-premise world is that we have the traditional patch and maintenance lifecycle tasks that go along with running on-premise. So, Business Objects 4.2 SP5 comes out. What do we need to do? We get technical people in a room and we figure out what the landscape's going to look like, and are we going to patch dev and QA and prod, and then we're going to have to regression test all of our reporting to make sure everything still works as is. And then ideally in a month or 2 or 6 months, right, we have an upgraded business objects environment. Then we rinse and repeat year after year after year. As SAP continues to innovate with its on-premise solutions, developers do not get access to new functionality unless we go through this process of patching and maintaining our on-premise environments. Thinking about cloud and software as a service, what SAP has done differently here is, yes, they've built this product from the ground up, but they've also built a platform that enables them to deliver innovation to customers, upgrades and enhancements to customer environments without disrupting the objects that the customer has deployed today. So, for example, on the screenshot on the left, you see bar charts with a variance on the left side of the screen. And let's say SAP comes up with a new UI element. Maybe it looks a little different, or it can be different shades, or you can change the way the numbers look in that graph. This dashboard, when I receive that update from SAP, would not impact my existing report or my dashboard delivered from SAP. Right? Those new UI elements, those new capabilities are available to me for me to retrofit into my dashboards, but they are not automatically applied. This is obviously the best case scenario for analytic developers because they get the latest enhancements for every new requirement that they're working on, and we have the option to retrofit backwards when we're ready. We don't get that capability, with business objects on premise. We have to patch and maintain. We have to regression test all of our reporting, and it becomes very painful. Now, SAP Analytics Cloud is more than just a BI tool. You're going to hear me talk about today about Cloud for Planning. You're going to hear me talk about predictive and analytics. So essentially, SAP Analytics Cloud encompasses all three of those tools. The use cases are defined here very plainly. This is an SAP graphic that I grabbed because I thought it was a nice overview. On the left side of the screen, we have the Run the Business reports, right? You have your financial cash flow reporting, your sales product hierarchy reporting. You have your traditional analytics that might be operational analytics, where you're looking at production inventory, statistics, etc. And you're able to do everything you need to do to run the business, right? Well, on the right side of the screen, the SAP Analytics Cloud also provides us the tools to grow the business, right? To be able to run what-if scenarios in the planning tool and being able to leverage predictive analytics and not just a few out-of-the-box predictive algorithms provided by SAP, but full support for R programming. So, as these kids, as college students graduate from college with data science degrees and a passion for R programming, you can take that talent and now apply it to SAP Analytics Cloud because SAP Analytics Cloud supports full R programming within the stories that is presented there. Now, on this slide, you also see a reference to BW4 HANA and S4 HANA, and I do not hide my dislike with SAP's licensing with BW4 HANA. SAP BW has been included with our SAP ERP and S4 HANA maintenance agreements for the last 20 years, and just within the last year, they now are charging for BW4 HANA. We here at NIMBL, we're steering our customers down a different path, but when it comes to S4 HANA, the embedded analytic capabilities of S4 HANA are absolutely fantastic. The ability to blend non-SAP and SAP data within S4 is fantastic. And today I'll show how we can connect SAP Analytics Cloud with a live connection to S4 HANA. BW4 HANA is fully supported. You won't hear me talk about it much because I personally dislike it. It is a solid platform. If you have a large investment in BW, it is safe in BW4 HANA when you're ready to pay that upgrade fee. But from a presentation layer perspective, from a front-end UI perspective, NIMBL we've gone full in with SAP Analytics Cloud because we really do believe it is a good product, not just in PowerPoint but in the real world. So if you rewind to 2 years ago, SAP Business Objects had Design Studio, which was its dashboarding tool, and SAP played around a little bit with Microsoft Silverlight. They were using Flash as well to do visualizations, and then SAP Lumira was created, and SAP said SAP Lumira is the future. SAP Lumira is our visualization tool. They then unified the platform, and they had the Design Studio went away, and it became Lumira Designer, and the visualization tool became Lumira Discovery, and you had this sort of desktop tool set where I could publish the business objects on-prem, my stories, and share those with individuals. The problem here was, again, you had the business objects platform that needed to be patched and maintained, and you had a desktop client tool set that had to be patched and maintained. SAP Lumira was a physically installed application on a desktop that you also had to maintain. So it increased sort of our IT costs of support. Now, looking at SAP Analytics Cloud, which again was available 2 years ago and has continued to mature over the last 24 months, it is a truly browser-based platform that allows us to visualize data, not just SAP data, but we're going to talk about all the different data sources that you can do. It is meant to enable you to create analytics that connects to both live and stored enterprise data warehouse data. It is not a tool for printed reports, right? If we're after a pixel-perfect green bar reports that need to be printed on the shop floor for the production supervisor, SAP Analytics Cloud is not your solution. If you need the printed report pixel perfect, then yes, you need to go back to the Crystal Reports and Webby world. But if you want users always being able to access live data, never having it be static, up-to-date cost center actual reports, up-to-date production reports, up-to-date sales analysis reports, SAP Analytics Cloud is your tool for this. It does allow for a drill down into data. It does allow for tabular analysis. And we'll show it a little bit later, it does allow you to use Microsoft Excel to connect to SAP Analytics Cloud models as well. So feature rich. It has its place in the marketplace. Again, I think SAP's strategy here is to drive business users away from Excel attachments and email, PDFs attached to an email, which are just static reports point in time, and drive them to links, right? So if I share a story or share an analytic report with SAP Analytics Cloud, whoever receives that link and then clicks it is always looking at live data, always up to date, right? Never a stale static PDF or Excel document. Now, the visualization tools are very powerful within SAP Analytics Cloud, but we also have some very neat tools available for us. We have predictive forecasting and predictive modeling capabilities within SAP Analytics Cloud. We also have what's called a data discovery or automatic insights, where we give SAP Analytics Cloud a set of data, and then we ask SAP Analytics Cloud to tell us more about that data. What are the influences in sales increasing in a specific region? What are the influences for on-time shipping performance? What are the influencers for budget increase over multiple business units, right? This is tools within SAP Analytics Cloud that, in my opinion, act as a muse, right? If you have a junior analytics person or a business analyst that's not an analytics expert, they can use the automated insight capabilities to find trends in the data and then leverage that insight to go create their own stories. So very neat. Ultimately, what is this all meant to do? It's meant to help support our data-driven decision making, right? You hear that a lot. So rather than shooting from the hip and making judgment calls, which are still applicable in our world today in the way that we run business, but ideally we want to be able to enable our business users to make data-driven decisions. So whether that's pricing decisions, looking at pricing models, doing what-if scenarios and decision trees. If I offer a 5% discount on these specific products for all sales agreements over $1 million, how will that impact my bottom line at the end of the year? Using SAP Analytics Cloud, I could answer that question, right? I have decision trees, and all the data will roll up, and I can do what-if scenarios. Very, very cool technologies available to allow people to explore this data. Naturally, there is some IT effort that needs to happen to get everything to work. We need to connect data sources. We need to make it available. But SAP Analytics Cloud is truly meant to be that business analyst, power business user tool to allow them to explore the data to help them make decisions. Now, in terms of SAP Analytics Cloud, one thing everybody needs to remember is that SAP Analytics Cloud runs on the SAP Cloud Platform. It runs in SAP data centers supporting SAP Cloud Platform. And now on the left side, we have what's called a multi-vendor approach. And what I'm trying to paint a picture here is of SAP Analytics Cloud is a wonderful analytics tool. And it can connect directly to SAP, SAP S/4HANA, SAP ERP, SAP BW, SAP BW for HANA, and SAP HANA as a database. Now, getting access to the data can be tough, right? Sometimes we need not only a database connection to a data source, sometimes we need to use APIs. Sometimes, unfortunately, we need to use flat files. And with SAP Cloud Platform, you have the ability to use integration services on Cloud Platform, which extend SAP Analytics Cloud capabilities, which now enables you to access any data source on the planet that is available via API. We're going to get to some use cases here in a little bit where we've built dashboards for customers using no SAP data at all and using 100% API-based data sources. So pulling weather statistics, pulling traffic statistics, pulling census data from the U.S. government, from opendata.gov, and bringing that in and making correlations to census data specific to geographic sales data. Pulling in Nielsen market data for the ad companies that we support in the space, using Google's ad APIs to understand the impressions that a customer's ad has geographically and by age, etc. Right, so the SAP Analytics Cloud is not just a standalone solution, but it is connected with the SAP Cloud Platform and your on-premise environment, enabling you to piece these tools together to provide a single solution rather than having to maybe go buy a MuleSoft or having to go buy Amazon Redshift or having to buy whatever Azure's middleware integration tool is today. Right? Rather than having to go piece together a middleware tool to use APIs and a database tool for HANA and S4, etc., right? We have the ability to have a single vendor approach within this SAP ecosystem. So you've heard me talk about SAP Analytics Cloud, really breaking it down. We're going to focus in on the BI tools, predictive and planning. Planning is, I have some slides specific to this for those customers on the phone today that are using SAP BPC or Hyperion Financial Management. We're going to talk about that. When buying SAP Analytics Cloud, my goal today is to educate you as a buyer so that you become more educated on what you're buying, right? If I buy SAP Analytics Cloud for planning, what does that get me? If I buy BI, what does that get me? And where does predictive fall into this, right? We're gonna help educate you on this. Now, the most important thing here is I have a bullet here called Plan and Collaborate on a Course of Action, right? So within the SAP Analytics Cloud, we have the sharing and collaboration tools as well. So team members can add notes to stories and analytic visualizations. People can see those. Think of it sort of as a poor man's Slack channel, right? So we all know Slack is a collaboration tool for project execution, and et cetera. SAP Analytics Cloud has some poor man features of Slack built in where we have a timeline of discussions and data points that people are talking about and pointing out. And then we have the what-if scenarios where people can take a planning model and copy it and create their own planning model and do a what-if scenario. So wonderful collaboration tools built into that platform. Going a little deeper now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the what's behind it. So I'm going to bring a marker here. So the BI tools, right, which is one specific license, allows you to do the data discovery, the predictive, and build your charts and tables and graphs and visualizations, right? So that's one license that you'll that you can buy. You can also buy the SAP Cloud for Planning license, which allows you to create planning models. For example, if I wanted to take cost center actuals from my ERP system or my S4 environment and bring those into a siloed model where I could then make changes or prepare a budget for next year. I could take my cost center actuals, copy it into a model, do some blanket growth, right? I could say we're going to grow expenses by 5% next year, apply that all the way through. I want to figure out what my IT allocation is going to be. I want to figure out what my shared services for customer service allocation is going to be by company, right? Being able to perform those allocations, I can do that in a planning model, and then I can send that out to share. Now, within the SAP Analytics Cloud, you also get tools for connectivity. And we're going to show those live today. We have tools to connect to not only database data sources, but also to OData data sources, Salesforce.com, all of the SAP product suite, so whether that's SuccessFactors or Ariba, we have that ability. We have modeling capabilities built into Analytics Cloud, allows us to manipulate or model the data in a way that we can consume it in a chart or a graph or a story. We have mobile, right? One of my biggest complaints with SAP Business Objects and Business Objects Mobile was that I needed to stand up an additional server for Business Objects Mobile. Some people say, well, you could put the Business Objects Mobile application on your enterprise instance. That's fine. But you still needed a server in the DMZ running Apache or potentially the mobile server services in order to enable the Business Objects Mobile client. So if you go out to SAP, Apple's App Store or Android App Store, you can go look at the SAP Business Objects Mobile client. The problem with it was it required a lot of infrastructure to get it deployed. It required a new layer of security. You had to involve your CISO and talk about external access to our data and what our requirements going to be, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With SAP Analytics Cloud, your content is instantly mobilized, and we're going to talk about data security in a little bit, but you have off-the-shelf mobile application available on Apple Store and Android, Google, where as soon as an individual creates a storyboard in Analytics Cloud, if they've enabled it for mobile access, they are instantly able to access that on the mobile device. So truly wonderful. And then lastly, SAP is being very innovative in that they have been creating a published set of APIs for SAP Analytics Cloud so that, let's say you're building a hybrid e-commerce environment and you build a customer portal or a dealer portal where dealers can log in and look at inventory, look at invoices, etc. You can now use these APIs to present SAP Analytics Cloud dashboards and stories within other solutions. So if you're running, again, Hybris, if you're running WebSphere from IBM, if you're running Azure or Amazon solutions, or if you're running Oracle's solutions as well, right? SAP Analytics Cloud now has APIs where when we're building a web application, maybe customer-facing, maybe dealer-facing, vendor-facing, we can embed Analytic Cloud content inside of our web applications. So I think SAP is doing a good job here being very forward-thinking and building these APIs to, again, allow customers to create, right? To create what's next. So, in terms of back on this slide here, there's an application that you can buy as an add-on called Digital Boardroom. There's also Analytics Hub. Mobile user experience, again, they've listed up here as an application, but it is included. So mobile experience that I'm highlighting here on the right side is included, whereas Digital Boardroom is an additional priced option. And for everybody listening or taking notes right now, I do have a summary slide on pricing here in a little bit to let you know. So, when talking about Digital Boardroom, if you have large format, I know these picture looks like monitors, but picture them as 55 and 65-inch touchscreens. If you have an environment where you have the ability to create a room where you have this 55-inch, 65-inch touchscreen, SAP Analytics Cloud is fully supported in the Digital Boardroom as well, where again we can take our SAP Analytics Cloud content and provide a touch interface to enable people to drill down in sort of a boardroom, a work group type settings. Rather than everybody looking at their own browser, we throw it up on a 65-inch screen and then allow people to use their hands to navigate the Analytics Cloud content. Very cool. From a predictive and machine learning perspective, SAP, again, as I said before, does fully support our programming. So if you do employ a data scientist, fantastic. We're happy that you nabbed one. It's a hot marketplace for those guys today and gals. The SAP Analytics Cloud does give us some wizards to allow us to select different predictive models to apply to a data set over a time horizon. So going back to my expense example within the planning tools, if I wanted to take a look at all expenses over the last 48 months and I want to kind of predict what my expenses are going to be for the next 12, I have a selection tool where I can choose different predictive models and a time horizon that I want to account for and present that to the business user. So moving from product capabilities to real-world examples. One of the things that I think SAP Cloud Platform, Analytics Cloud, excels at is the ability to blend data from SAP and non-SAP data sources and present it in a way that is abstracted from the business user. So when the business user sees the sales model, the virtual data model supporting all sales data in this example here, they do not care that it came from 24 different ERP systems. Right? In this scenario, we had a global manufacturer, one of the few Fortune 1000 companies in the world not to run SAP yet. They purchased SAP last year. They're running S/4HANA hosted by an SAP hosting partner. They have, again, those 24 different ERP systems throughout the world. They have Great Plains deployed. They have Dynamics deployed. They have MFG Pro. They have QAD. It seems like if it was ever created, they purchased it. And so they have all these systems around the world, and we needed a tool to support what we called the same-day sales dashboard. It was something the organization had never had before. They had sales dashboards, yes, but the sales dashboard content was between 5 and 15 days old, depending on the geographic location and the environment they wanted to analyze. And so we wanted to change this, and we needed an agile platform to do so. And that's where SAP Analytics Cloud, the Cloud Platform, and specifically SAP HANA Database as a Service came in. We leveraged, obviously, the S4 system that was existing was very easy to connect because there's replication tools provided by SAP to very easily replicate from S4 into a HANA sidecar in Cloud Platform. SAP HANA has connectors for Teradata natively out of the box. So it allowed us to get access to an existing data warehouse where some ERP systems were already reporting their data live. And in other cases, for example, the Microsoft platforms, Great Plains and Dynamics, those systems had not yet been integrated into the global data warehouse, and so we said we're going to go after them direct. We leveraged SAP's whitelist APIs. We connected through Cloud Platform, and we were now pulling that data in 15-minute increments from systems all over the globe into that SAP HANA database as a service sitting in the center of this diagram right here. We were pulling all that data into SAP HANA database as a service and then presenting the content within SAP Analytics Cloud. Now for this organization, the benefit of them consolidating on S4 is that this dashboard never needs to change. From the back-end virtual data modeling perspective, as certain ERP systems are deprecated and moved into the S4 environment globally, we continue pulling the sales data from S4. And so now this organization, while they have not unified their SAP platform, they have not globally gone live on S4, they do have a single source of truth for same-day sales globally using SAP Analytics Cloud. Now moving into an example of an organization that doesn't even run SAP, right? Because SAP is doing a very good job of attracting new customers with Analytics Cloud that don't even run in the SAP ecosystem. In this example, it was a sports team that we wanted to create a dashboard around the venue. What is the fan experience in the venue? Who's entering the stadium? Where are they at in the stadium? What are they buying? What are they not buying? Where are they sitting? Where are they not sitting? And what are they saying about us on social media? And what are they buying from a retail perspective, food and beverage perspective, etc. We wanted to correlate this with weather. We wanted to correlate this with traffic data for people having a hard time getting to the stadium. We wanted to correlate this with the NFL score, right? If the team's performing bad, are they buying more? Are they buying less? These are all trends that when you think about what happens after the fact, yes, this data did exist in a data warehouse sitting in Amazon, but the analysis took 2 or 3 days, and then we would get a report, and this business then couldn't react. Right? There's only 8 home games a year, and the message was, "We'll do better next time. We'll do better next time. We'll do better next time." Enter Analytics Cloud and Leonardo and Cloud Platform. And now we're connecting to data live. So in the second quarter of a game, they're able to look at sales data. They're able to do push notifications to service members specific to VIPs coming into the stadium, where do those VIPs scan and enter in different parts of the building. From a sales perspective, being able to work with a marketing organization to push out incentives to increase buying behaviors throughout the game. If the team's performing poorly, maybe we offer discounts on merchandise and gear. These are all things that enable them to react real time during a game rather than waiting and saying, well, next time this happens, next time we're down, we're going to do this, right? Now they were able to react real time. Typical projects like this, that first project where we talked about the global manufacturer with multiple data sources, or the slide before talking about that customer with no SAP data sources at all. It was all non-SAP. Think about a project flow and what does the time take? These projects are run using Agile, right? We start off with design thinking workshops. We design the stories and figure out what information do we need to present and who's the consumer. Is it a technician? Is it a plant supervisor? Is it a controller within the finance organization? Is it somebody in the FP&A team? We figure out who are our users, what is their persona, what do they want to see, what decisions do they need to make. Then that helps us drive to the data that they were going to require to make that, and then we try to figure out the visualizations we're going to use. We break these up into development sprints typically with 1 to 2 virtual data models and 1 to 2 storyboards for development sprint. And we run these projects very quickly. These analytic initiatives do not need to be 6, 7, 8, 10-month initiatives. We want to provide what I like to call incremental innovation, right? So choose a few key areas, whether that's budget and planning or sales analysis or correlating non-SAP data with our sales data to figure out how are external elements impacting us, right? This is a very common timeline for an analytic project that we're deploying. In terms of visualizations, I think everybody has seen SAP Analytics Cloud before, but we're just talking a little bit about the screen. We have the ability to do tabbed navigation. So up top, you can see here I've got some tabs that I can use tabular. Digital Boardroom has its own navigation method as well. I have the ability to do time horizon line charts here. So if I clicked on right here and I drug it this way, it would dynamically change all of the data within the screen to that time period that I selected. Here you can see I'm focused on reporting by customer group. If I wanted to change that dimension selection to do by sales org, right, as soon as I select the radio button for sales org, it dynamically changes the content on the screen to select that. And then naturally, you can see here I have some KPIs. And if I click on these items, I might go into a tabular display. I might navigate into a different tab within there. When talking about geospatial, wanted to let everybody know that SAP Analytics Cloud supports, yes, city, count, state, geographies. Those are the easy ones, right? Geographic boundaries that are existing on a geographical map. That's the easy way to do analytics. But what I'm demonstrating here on the screen is the ability to do custom shapes, right? I'm able to use the Esri ArcGIS development toolset to create custom layers, custom maps. And so maybe I want to overlay a sales territory that doesn't bind to a sales geography, or if I want to use zip codes, or if I want to create a custom layers or custom zones within a geographical map, I can do that as well. We see this in the service industry and consumer packaged goods space. Within the services space, right, we look at a city and metropolitan area and figure out who's not buying what we're selling, and map our existing customers and correlate that to census data to let the census tell us where the businesses are, the people are, so our salespeople know geographically where to head to. And some more examples here where I've got a line and bar chart with thresholds. I've got comparison events. I've got different heat maps and line diagrams. And everybody knows and loves this white background and shapes, but it doesn't need to look like that, right? SAP Analytics Cloud has full branding capability. In this dashboard, we're on a selection screen here, and you can see in the background right here, right, we're using a chalkboard texture. This doesn't look and feel like SAP Analytics, and it doesn't have to, right? We can do a lot of corporate branding to enable SAP Analytics Cloud to not look like SAP, but to look like a Web 2.0 application. So here we have comparison events where we're showing a variance compared against a comparison event. We have, again, our custom geospatial. They're integrated. We have, again, different bar charts and heat maps letting people understand what's happening. In this use case, this is all real-time data. So as attendance and happening at the sporting event is occurring, we have the ability to react and look at what, in this example, right, this was barcode already used. 639 people showed up to a game with a pirated or copied ticket, right, or wrong gate, right? They came into the wrong place. Maybe they tried to go into club level and they don't have access to club level, etc. So very, very cool stuff. Pivoting to cloud for planning. And I know I'm keeping everybody awake out there because we're moving very quickly. We're about 40 minutes. We're about 30 minutes in, and I want to make sure we leave time for questions. So we talked a little bit about analytics. We talked about dashboards. We talked about stories. Now let's talk about cloud for planning. So cloud for planning is a component within SAP Analytics Cloud that allows us to take a data set, actual sales data, actual cost center actuals, and bring that into sort of a table that is separate from everything else, separate from our live data, and allow us to do what-if scenarios and model out in what could happen or build a sales plan or financial plan within a defined space, invite people within a group to collaborate on it. So as an example, we had an organization that operated warehouses. They were a 3PL provider all throughout the United States and Asia Pacific. And their old budgeting process involved the FP&A team downloading data from SAP into Excel, creating regional budgets by warehouse manager, and then distributing those budgets via Microsoft Excel as an attached to an email, and then pestering them for 60 days to update their budgets. Eventually, usually on the last day, all the Excel budgets would come in, and then it was up to the FP&A group to do the Excel magic to combine everything. right? Fast forward to Cloud for Planning. We have the ability to create planning models with security layers built in to allow people to plan against their area but not another area, enable them to contribute to these budgets, to look at the growth estimates potentially, or the increase in expenses or decrease in expenses, add explanations as to why they need more X or less this, or et cetera, or why this sales forecast is not acceptable. And it has the ability to do versioning, right? So here we have a couple here that are listed. We have a sandbox version, right? Somebody created. We have one where someone applied some predictive. We have our actuals, right? A model with actuals and a model with forecasts, right? So these planning models are very flexible, very useful. I would say that it does take a degree of rigor internally to govern the creation and maintenance of planning models. Naturally, we can do that through SAP licensing, and we can limit who can create and who can view. There's a license for people to participate, and there's a license for people to create. Everything you see here, I'm kind of showing, it allows you to pull data from SAP ERP and S4. You could also pull data from a BPC model in BW if you really wanted to. SAP does have some slides around a hybrid environment running BPC and SAP Analytics Cloud. In my mind, if you don't run BPC today, you don't in the future. And I'm going to talk about why. So the following 6 slides are from SAP directly, and so I would like to cite my sources there. So strategic direction for planning. Before, SAP, yes, had its planning application called Analytics Cloud. On-premise, you could run BPC on SQL Server. You could run BPC on SAP BW or BW for HANA. They had a specialized version of BPC called BPC Optimized for S4HANA, or sometimes called BPC Embedded. On the cloud side, if you were running S4 Public Cloud or S4, what's now called S4 Multi-Tenant Cloud, you didn't have a planning tool available to you. You had to go buy BPC and run it on-premise. There was no cloud-based planning tool for you. Now we talk about moving forward, and this deck was released in June, I believe in June of this year, so it's accurate as of a couple months ago. SAP has now said if you're a customer looking for a planning tool, your go-to product is SAP Analytics Cloud and Cloud for Planning, right? That is our go-to tool. If you require an on-premise solution or for certain advanced scenarios, then SAP is saying you should use VPC. But the go-forward recommendation moving forward is if I need a planning tool, I need to first look at SAP Analytics Cloud and Cloud for Planning. If my requirements cannot be met in that cloud environment, then SAP will steer me towards VPC as a product. Again, these are SAP slides sourced from a webinar that I attended. Consolidations. The reason why I have consolidations in here is because, number one, to let you know that SAP Cloud for Analytics Cloud does not have a consolidations tool, but to just explain where the roadmap is going. So if you're a BPC customer today, you know that planning is going to SAP Analytics Cloud, but what about consolidations? I run consolidations today in ERP. What does that look like in the future? So before, again, we all talked about this. We talked about BPC. In the future, we know that SAP has now said for consolidations, if you do need to do multiple company code consolidations for both SAP and non-SAP data, so if I have 3 companies running Epicor and 1 company running S4, in the future, I will use SAP S4HANA for group reporting. S4HANA group reporting is available on-premise as part of 1809 and above, which is being released this September or this month. S4HANA group reporting is also available in the multi-tenant cloud solution. So SAP has simplified the consolidation tool platform. You will use S4HANA group reporting. If you have a specific question on this, please do raise your hand in the chat window because I have a whole other presentation just on S4HANA group reporting for those interested in information about that topic. All right, predictive analytics. I mentioned before that SAP Cloud for Planning and SAP Analytics Cloud, right, the BI side, we have the ability to use predictive modeling. In this scenario on my screen, I am doing what's called a best case, worst case scenario. So I'm taking in this example, raw materials and looking at the consumption of a specific group of raw materials, and I want to forecast based on sales, based on my prior consumption, and you can see that we do have some seasonality in this time horizon where we didn't do a lot of this work in Q1 and Q2, but we have a lot in Q3 and Q2, where I'm looking at a specific time horizon and I'm creating a predictive forecast that says this is what my best case, worst case might be. Right? This is something a supply chain planner or buyer might use to go to that vendor to say, hey, we want to renegotiate our purchasing agreement. We want to purchase these materials from you, and I'm forecasting that this next year I'm going to buy X or Y. Right? That's one possible use case here for cost planning, etc. If we're trying to figure out what is our sales going to be and what our costs are going to be for next year to figure out what how much we're going to drop to the bottom line. Predictive would support that business case as well. We can have different weighting as well, so we can weight different categories. Very cool tool, and it's all selectable from a visual perspective. And again, if the out-of-the-box predictive wizards do not support your use case, again, SAP Analytics Cloud does support our programming natively within the platform. A new feature that I'm really excited about, and it is no longer in beta, so we'll cross this out, right? This is productive, is the ability to, for a business user to use narrative language to build a chart or graph dynamically. So in this scenario, I'm typing the word show, and then I would hit my space bar, and I would be prompted to select what I want to show. I want to show sales. I want to show net revenue. I want to show discounts. I want to show shipments. I would type show space, and I would be prompted. And in this case, I selected net revenue by, right? I typed the words by, product, and region. And by typing that narratively into the Insights tool, it then dynamically builds this chart on the right side of the screen based on my narrative input into a command, right? Now, it is also, so what this also did is it also let me know what model am I using for this graph right now. And so if I wanted to, I could select a different model. Maybe this is the profit loss model for 2018. Maybe I wanted to use the sales and forecast model for 2018, etc. Right? So this feature is called Search to Insight. You can see also down here it says Add to Story. So during a business analyst or a power user's discovery of data, right? Looking at a data set and trying to figure out what do I want to present on a storyboard for my business users to consume. They can use the Search to Insight feature to narratively describe what they're looking for, and then click the Add to Story button to add that to a dashboard for consumption later, obviously with multiple stories later on. So a very, very, very cool tool. When talking about blending data, I've talked about a little bit about planning, a little bit about predictive, Search to Insight. We've talked about use cases for Cloud for Planning and the statement of direction. Talking about getting data, right? The most important thing. Dashboards are cool, but only if you have good data. So within SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP Cloud Platform, on the right side of my screen, I have the ability to run SAP HANA or SAP ASC, SAP Sybase ASC, within the SAP Analytics Cloud, within SAP Cloud Platform and use that as a live data source. I also have the ability to do a live connection to on-premise HANA, on-premise S4, on-premise BW. And we'll show a screenshot of some of that here shortly. Now, in terms of accessing all data, right, any data, I mentioned before the strength of SAP Analytics Cloud is that no data is left untouched. We have the ability through SAP Cloud Platform and a tool specifically called Integration Services to bring all API-based data sources into SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP HANA. Right? Any API-based data source. And if you're using Trade Desk or you're using Google or you're using in the sports world, Ticketmaster or a Micros Oracle point of sale system, all of those systems, all of those technologies traditionally have APIs that we're able to navigate. Typically, the APIs are documented publicly. We're able to navigate those APIs and source that data and bring it into SAP Analytics Cloud. Naturally, as you would expect, SAP supports their own products, right? So we have Hybris, Concur, SuccessFactors, We have S/4HANA Public Cloud, or S/4 Multi-Tenant as it's called now. SAP Business by Design is supported. All your traditional data sources on-premise, so universes within business objects, BW, BPC, ECC, ERP, right? All of that connectivity there. And then all of your traditional data sources, flat file, CSV, Excel, all of your traditional, any database that is SQL 92 compliant that comes with an ODBC driver or a JDBC driver, we can connect to it as well. So truly an innovative platform that enables you to bring all of that data together. Another slide just to synthesize this. I talked about before the live connections. There's one not listed up here right now that was just recently added. I do have the ability to do a live connection to an OData data source. OData being API-based data sources, which is very cool, and we'll try to show some of that here shortly. SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services, for those of you who don't know, is a microservice within the SAP Cloud Platform that enables you to get data from anywhere and send data anywhere. If I need to get data via an EDI 850 document and then send it as an XML to iDoc in S4, perfect, can do it. If I need to get data via EDI 850 document and store it in a table in HANA, perfect, can do it. If I need to read and write from blockchain APIs, right? If you have an Ethereum blockchain deployed somewhere in the marketplace and Ethereum has APIs, we can connect to it, we can bring that data in. SOAP, REST, JSON, OData, XML, et cetera, all API-based data sources are 100% available through the SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. Once we get the data, we can then send it anywhere, and traditionally we're sending it in that HANA database as a service in order to report against that data. From a Twitter perspective, which is listed down here, Twitter data, we're sourcing tweets via an API key, and then we're applying some sentiment analysis on HANA to figure out was this tweet positive, negative, or neutral. Absolutely can do. Salesforce, SAP doesn't have an adapter for Salesforce, but the adapter doesn't support all areas of Salesforce. So if you have Salesforce or Force.com's SDK is absolutely fantastic, wonderful APIs there. AWS CLI, right? If you needed to build a dashboard on your AWS spend, we could use AWS APIs to bring together and build a dashboard on our Amazon spend with SAP Analytics Cloud. So really what I'm trying to do, and I am saying it very quickly, what I'm trying to do is make sure that all the attendees here today understand that there is no data source unavailable to SAP Analytics Cloud. We can get data from anywhere and blend it with our traditional SAP ERP or S4 data. So talking about architecture, one of the most common questions that we get is, if I deploy SAP Analytics Cloud, does that mean my data moves to the cloud? And the answer is, it doesn't have to. When we use SAP Analytics Cloud and we use a live data source, like a live data connection to S4 or SCM or BW or whatever, when I use that live connection, the connection to the Analytics Cloud is limited to the report metadata, the shapes, the colors, the position on the canvas, what data is being displayed, my comments or any comments that are stored related to people collaborating. Yes, that data, the report metadata, is stored in Analytics Cloud, but the connection to the data is from my browser, right? So from my PC, the connection is navigated. Basically what happens is in the browser, in the application, when it sees a path of SAP BC and anything after that, the application within your browser redirects that URL to your NetWeaver host and your ICM port and your SAP connection in SICAF. Okay, so when I'm sitting on my tablet or my computer in my corporate network and I'm running a sales report using a live connection to S4, the S4 data connection is from my browser directly to S4 via HTTPS. Okay, that's a typo here. I have HTTP. That is not correct. You can only use SSL, and it must be a root CA signed cert. So the connection from my browser to the data source is where that data is how that data is being brought into my dashboard. In this example here, I am showing you our preferred path, CDS views. CDS views within ABAP are super powerful, simplify our security model, and we could do a whole webinar on that topic. Now, let's say that I am a PC or tablet outside of the organization, right? So we're moving up here to the right side of the screen, And if I connect to that same report outside of the organization, if my PC or tablet is not on VPN, does not have a connection to the data, a direct connection to the data source, or if that ICF service on my S4 system is not exposed externally, I cannot connect to my on-premise data. Okay, that is a very important distinction. So yes, I can use Analytics Cloud, the mobile application on my iOS, iPhone, and tablet. Yes, I can absolutely do so, but that iPhone or that tablet needs to be on a VPN connection if I want it to. It does not have to. You as an organization can make that decision with your CISO, and they'll probably freak out. And you're going to say, hey, I want to expose a service outside the firewall that directly connects to our S4 instance. You're going to need to take all the normal precautions, right, the application firewalls, et cetera, that we would all recommend, but it is 100% possible. Now, in certain scenarios, that will be unacceptable for an organization, and that is where we see people buying the SAP HANA Database as a Service in Cloud Platform, where we replicate data to SAP HANA on Cloud Platform in certain scenarios where we want to have external access to data without a VPN required. We're buying small SAP HANA instances, call this a HANA sidecar if you will, running HANA sidecar on Cloud Platform. Running that sidecar on Cloud Platform and allowing those analytic users to connect the HANA database. And that HANA database can be connected to from the public internet anywhere, or you can whitelist things as whitelist connections as well. So I'm hoping this was a good technical explainer as to does my data move to the cloud? From a connection details perspective, I wanted to quickly show, yes, we have the import data connection. We have the live data connection, SAP HANA. Yes, that is there. Some clarifying points. It's 2018, and I still get this first question. What about HANA Live? And can I connect to HANA Live? The short answer is yes, you can connect to HANA Live, but in our recommendation, we cannot recommend customers use HANA Live moving forward. SAP HANA Live has stopped being maintained in 2013 or 2012. Yes, it's available for its pre-built calculation views for SAP ERP, not for S4. And SAP has pivoted to, instead of using those HANA Live views, they've pivoted to core data services. And so SAP ABAP core data services, SAP HANA core data services is the future direction from SAP. Yes, calculated views are still supported today, and they'll still, based on what we know, they're still supported tomorrow. That's not going away. But every developer on this phone, whether you're an ABAP developer or an analytics developer or a BW developer, you need to learn core data services. That is an essential skill set for the platform moving forward. Talking about licensing, again, I told you earlier I would make you an educated buyer today. Talking about the different license types. The license type that most people start with is the BI user. This is the ability to use the analytic tools within SAP Analytics Cloud. The minimum contract is typically 1 year. You can buy 10 users for a year, and you can use the analytic tools with your on-premise data sources or any data source that you choose. The planning and planning professional. The planning professional, as I mentioned before, the planning professional includes BI, so don't double buy. If you're going to deploy planning and analytics, you do not need to buy a planning user and a BI user for the same person. That one person, if you bought them a planning professional license, gets the ability to create planning models, participate in the planning models, and use the BI tool sets. If you buy somebody a planning standard user, this might be somebody in the FP&A group, this might be a line manager or controller or a warehouse supervisor, production supervisor. If you want them to participate in a planning model, you would buy them the planning standard license, which again includes that BI license as well. So some clarifications there to make sure that you all know what you need to buy if you need to move forward. Now, SAP Analysis for Office, right, the Excel client. SAP Analysis for Office prior to July 9th of this year was only accessible to customers if they owned Business Objects Enterprise. So if you owned Business Objects Enterprise, you could use Analysis for Office. You could connect to SAP HANA. You could connect to SAP S4. You could connect anything, right? Well, now SAP is moving. Has already enabled, SAP has enabled every SAP Analytics Cloud customer to, they have enabled every SAP Analytics Cloud customer to use Analysis for Office, the Excel plugin, to enable you to connect to Analytics Cloud, SAP Analytics Cloud models. So we have the dashboarding tool in Analytics Cloud, the visualization tool, the ability to plan in the cloud in the browser, which is wonderful. Now SAP, as of July 9th, gives us the ability to install the Analysis for Office Excel plugin and connect to our models as well. This feature here is the one that I'm most excited to, where if I have an SAP Analytics Cloud model that is a direct connection to SAP HANA, we will have that live connection. Obviously, I don't work for SAP Product Management, but they're working very fast on this, and I definitely predict them to deliver this very quickly. Talking about named users, concurrent users, you can buy SAP Analytics Cloud as a named user, yes. They also offer concurrent user licenses. It's everything you would expect, right? If I use 2 tabs in Chrome, 1 user, 2 tabs in Chrome, 5 tabs in Chrome, that's counted as 1 user, 1 session. If I connect to Analytics Cloud from a browser and my mobile app, then it's counted as 2 concurrent sessions, 2 licenses. So when buying your SAP Analytics Cloud, do be conscious of, do I want to go named user or concurrent user? If you go named user, that user can log into mobile device and browser all at the same time, and you'll never have any issues with licenses. Another question we commonly get is, what's the service level agreement with SAP Analytics Cloud? We have 99.5% uptime guaranteed, and what that roughly breaks down to is less than 8 hours a year of unplanned maintenance. We get 4-hour regular maintenance windows once a month, and then we get major upgrades 4 times a year. These are typically run in a specific data center that you choose, and you can see here it's run on Sundays between 4 a.m. and 10 a.m. So some things to take into account. Where to learn more? I wanted to highlight some important links here. Where do I go to learn this stuff? Where does our team go to learn SAP Analytics Cloud? I love the YouTube channel. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's so funny that it still says Business Objects. Don't worry. It is an Analytics Cloud channel as well. The SAP Analytics help document, always good for connectivity, the guides, and the business content. Now with that, you will have a copy of this presentation where you can access my email and direct message me on Twitter. With there, I'm going to pause my screen sharing.
All right, and before we get to the Q&A, we just want to wrap it up with a couple more poll questions. Again, just to get a lay of the land in terms of the audience. What financial or sales planning tools do you use today? Are you using Microsoft Excel? Are you using business planning and consolidation by SAP? Are you using Oracle's Hyperion financial management tools? Or using other? Looks like a lot of people are using BPC. You get a little bit more time to fill that out. Great. And let's jump to the final poll question. Did your team deploy SAP Lumira? Did you do a proof of concept only and you haven't gone to production? Have you never used Lumira? Or yes, you have deployed it and it is in production? Looks like it's kind of split down the middle between haven't used and have used. All right, great. Let's get to the questions that we have. First question is from Sanjay. Sanjay asks, is SAP Analytics Cloud a competing product of Business Objects BI? And is it also a competing product of BPC?
Good question, Sanjay. And I'm going to answer your question from a participant in the SAP community. As I said, I don't work for SAP. I'm not an SAP product manager. In my mind, if you do not run Business Objects today, it would be a preferred solution for you to go to SAP Analytics Cloud first. No infrastructure to deploy, frequent updates, right? We're getting updates on a monthly basis. You can't, in an on-premise world, you can't patch monthly. It's just not feasible. And so SAP Analytics Cloud, in my mind, is a competitor to Business Objects. Business Objects can do more. I mentioned the pixel-perfect reports, right, and printed reports, and being able to export to PDF and send those as an attachment. Business Objects does that great. So if you're looking for pixel-perfect printed reports, that is not what Analytics Cloud is for. Analytics Cloud is for real-time analysis, engagement, collaboration, planning, and using predictive. In terms of is SAC a competing product for BPC, again, I'm just reading the tea leaves here. I didn't like BPC's architecture in BW. I didn't like that I had to extract from ERP into a PSA in BW and then from a PSA into a BPC model. I'm storing the data 3 times. That was very inefficient and a waste of IT resources. So for me, I think that it is a competitor to BPC from a planning perspective only. So if you're doing sales planning, manufacturing planning, supply chain planning, or financial planning, budget planning, FP&A planning, then yes, I would consider SAC a competing product to BPC.
All right. Mark asks, do I need to have SAP Cloud Platform to utilize SAP Analytics Cloud or to deploy?
No, you do not. So SAP Analytics Cloud, like all SAP Cloud Platform components, can be purchased individually or together. So I have the ability to integrate them if I buy both, or if I don't, that's fine. SAP Analytics Cloud can be purchased independently. You do not need to buy HANA as a service from SAP. You can use HANA on Amazon or HANA anywhere or no HANA at all. So SAP Analytics Cloud can be purchased as a standalone product.
All right. Unless we have any other questions, we have come to the top of the hour. I want to say thank you so much, Michael, for a great presentation. A lot of information covered. Again, as he mentioned, as I mentioned, everybody will be receiving the fully edited copy. On your way out, you will see a comment section. We'd love to hear what you thought of the presentation. And any comments you have as we plan out the rest of our season leading into 2009, what topics you want us to cover. And again, your overall thoughts on the presentation itself. On that note, I'm going to say again, thank you to Michael, and thank you everybody who attended. I hope you found it valuable and informative. And have yourself a great weekend. Thanks so much.